licensed mental health therapist in the state of Arizona. And I'm just here to help drive this amazing conversation today that these ladies are having. And I cannot wait to hear what you all have to share. And I can't wait to learn and just provide my own insights with all that. So thank you for having me. I'm honored to be here.
Yay! What's your favorite food, Amy Dawn?
My favorite food?
Yes.
Definitely pizza.
Pizza.
Yeah, because I get bored easily, and so I love that pizza can be pretty much any flavor. And so yeah, that's pizza.
That's really good.
As long as we're not putting pineapples on it.
Oh, I do that. So
I love I'm
dropping you. No, I'm just kidding.
I only put pineapples on it if there's jalapenos on it. Also, this spicy sweet is chef's kiss. So.
That's not. No, I can't do that. But.
I'm never asking you what your favorite food is again. You're fired.
I also love a really good homemade mac and cheese, and mine is next level. So
that I can get with.
Have you made teenies on TikTok? Have you seen that recipe?
I'm not sure if I have or not.
Look at TINI mac and cheese. She's got a recipe that's like everybody loves.
Okay.
Fantastic.
I love that because I'm always looking to next level up mine. I've been working on that for 5 years. I never am satisfied. I just want the next level on my mac and cheese. Right now I'm up to 5 different cheeses. So
amazing.
Yes. I love Gouda. All right. Simone Biles. Melly, you are first. And by the way, y'all, Melly is also going to be watching the game after. So if she's looking away and she's yelling and you see her jumping up and down in her chair, it's because UConn is probably winning.
It's a serious game this week. So.
Priorities.
Yes.
Today.
Yes. So I'm going to talk about her early life, family life. I'm excited about today. I am a huge Simone Biles fan. I watched her in the 2020 Olympics. Well, not the 2020. The 2021. It was technically 2021 Olympics. I watched when she walked off stage. I watched her in 2016. I also have watched gymnasts since growing up. And I also recently watched her in the 2024, watched her documentary, and I absolutely cried when she won the gold medal in the 2024 Olympics. I literally was sobbing disgustingly. So this was exciting for me. Simone Ariana Biles was born on March 14th, 1997 in Columbus, Ohio to Kevin Clemens and Shannon Biles. Her early life was marked with a lot of struggles due to her mother's struggle with substance abuse, and her father and her mother were deemed unfit parents. Biles, her brother and sister, Audria, Ashley, and Tevin, entered into the foster care system when Simone was 3 years old. A few years later, Simone's grandfather Ron and grandmother Nellie eventually stepped into raising Simone and Audria in Spring, Texas. Ron and Nellie eventually adopted the two girls. Ashley and Tevin were adopted by their great aunt. The loving and supportive environment led Simone to flourish and develop her natural athletic abilities, eventually leading her towards gymnastics. When Simone was 6 years old, she visited a gymnastics center called Bannon's Gymnastics on a field trip with her daycare group. While there, I imitated the gymnasts and Coach Ronnie noticed, Biles said. The gym sent home a letter requesting that I join tumbling gymnastics. Simone Biles remained at that gym for 11 years under the direction of her coach, Amy Borman. Now we'll talk a little bit about her junior and senior level of Simone's gymnastics journey. In 2007, Simone began her career in gymnastics when she began competing as a level 8 gymnast. Simone won a gold in the floor exercise and a bronze in the vault at the Women's Juniors Olympics Nationals in 2010 before breaking into the elite level in 2011.
Wow.
By the end of 2011, she claimed the top spot in the vault and balance beam events and won the bronze in the all-around at the American Classics. Simone's final year in the junior leagues in 2012 was nothing less than amazing. She won the all-around events at the Alamo Classics, the U.S. Secret Classic, the Houston National Invitational, and the American Classics. In 2013, Simone Biles showed just how spectacular she was when she burst into the spotlight by winning the all-around USA Gymnastics Championship. She became the first African American woman to claim this title. At the World Championship in 2014, Simone took home 4 gold medals in the women's team competition and the individual all-around, the balance beam, and the floor exercise events. She would also win the silver medal in the vault. Simone claimed her 3rd U.S. all-around title in 2015, becoming the first woman to accomplish this since Kim Smeskal in 1992. That same year at the World Championship, she completed her hat trick of all-around titles. She also won balance beam and floor exercise titles, the bronze medal in vault, and share of the team title. That would bring her career total to 14 World Championship medals, and the most earned by a U.S. gymnast, male or female. In addition, she also held 10 World Championship gold medals, which was the most held by any female gymnast in the sport's history. Biles would go on to add a lot more to her wins.
Yeah, and she was really, really, really young.
Yeah.
So that was
She
also
wasn't even old enough to go to the Olympics at that point.
Yeah, and that's exactly how the next thank you for that, Melly, and that's exactly how the next segue leads into, which is my part, which is really so I also love Simone Biles. I know that I wasn't totally up on like some of her stories, but I just think it's super courageous, and I think it's really beautiful when somebody overcomes so many things, so many obstacles to become so great. And this is part of the reason that we pick a different woman of the week, because I think it's so important that we express the fact that every single woman that we've talked about every single week, including and especially Simone Biles, has overcome like great obstacles to become great. So nobody ever said being great was easy. Nobody ever promised that, right? So like when we go out there and we try to fight and protest and do all the things we're doing, nobody ever said that was going to be easy. But like we do it because we want to push things forward, right? And because we want to be successful. So Simone was too young to qualify for the 2012 Olympic Games in London, but was favorite to enter the 2016 Rio de Janeiro Olympics Games. Simone would go on to compete in 2016 and live up to the expectations. Simone led the United States in gold in the team event and then won the individual all around. So like that's like a big thing for those of you who watch the Olympics. Simone also went on to win both the floor and the vault. And I remember this day. I remember this day. I remember crying. I remember this day like it was fucking yesterday. Becoming the 5th female gymnast to claim the 4th gold medal and at the same Olympic Games. Simone won the bronze in the balance beam, concluding the Rio de Janeiro, I said it with my tongue, I don't know where it was, games with a total of 5 medals. My tongue left my body for that one. Simone took a break from gymnastics after the 2016 games, and in 2018 revealed that she had been a victim of Larry Nassar. And for those of you who don't know, that was huge news. And she wasn't the only one to come out against him at the time. He was a former doctor for the U.S. national gymnastics team who was convicted of SA in 265 athletes. 265. And thank you for whoever put SA and not the other word, because now I don't 265 is a lot. And given the power, right? Give men the power, and what are they going to do with it? That year, Simone returned to compete in the U.S. at the national championship. She became the first female gymnast in nearly 25 years to win all 5 events, including a record-setting 5th all-around title. Simone will become the most decorated female gymnast in the world champions, bringing her career to a total of 20 medals. And in 2019, Simone would continue to make history, winning the gold medal in the all-around at the World Championship, becoming the first gymnast in more than 6 decades, y'all, to win 5 gold medals. She also debuted.
I like debuted though. That's neat. That's more fun to say, honestly.
Really make words up. You know what? They should stop making words that don't mean like just spell it the way it's said. Because I take things too literally. She also debuted in an incredible, difficult move on the balance beam, a double twist. I remember this too, a double backflip dismount, which she successfully executed. It was later named the Biles, becoming one of 7 moves that she introduced in the sport. In 2020, due to the pandemic, no major events were held. This did not break or affect Simone because in 2021, at the US Classics, she became the first female gymnast to land the sport's most difficult vault, the Yurkechino.
That's very good. I would not have gone there.
Okay, I'm not going to say it again because I'll say it wrong the next time. Double pike, also known as the Biles, too.
But yeah.
Yurchenko. Goodbye.
Go. Sorry.
It was named after another gymnast.
I forgot to mute my phone. It's also Sunday. I don't know why they're calling me. During a competition that was named the Biles 2. Did I have the 2020 Tokyo Games too?
Yes.
Okay. So, first of all, for coming out with her story and then going on to win all these medals and do all these things, like that takes some fucking courage, some bravery, and some real dedication to
at that time
becoming
she spoke
great.
in Congress too. She spoke in front of
Yeah.
Hey, Brandon.
Hi. Expectations were high. This is the 2020 Tokyo Games. I also remember this. Expectations were high for Simone as she entered the 2020 Tokyo Olympics, which were delayed due to the pandemic until 2021. This time, competing on the world stage would prove to be different for Simone. Simone began to practice for the team finals and could not shake the twisties, which the twisties is very dangerous for gymnasts. This is when they lose their awareness of their body while they're mid-air. Simone shocked fans when she abruptly withdrew from the women's gymnastics finals. I say, put mental health first, was her quote. Put mental health first. Biles said at a press conference after a team event, because if you don't, then you're not going to enjoy your sport and you're not going to succeed as much as you want to. That was also her quote. This is also a quote. I literally felt like I was fighting my body and my body to do these tricks, Biles said in April 2024 interview on a Call Her Dad podcast. It's just like your body, your brain opens up, you have no idea where you are, which is really deep if you think about that. Like just the statement, and I'll read it again. It's just like your body, your brain opens up, you have no idea where you are. Her withdrawal from the competition sparked discussion about the pressure placed on athletes and their mental health concerns. Simone took an extended break from gymnastics to focus on her mental health and entered into therapy.
Fucking cool. Do you want to have a discussion before we move into anything else, or no? Okay. So I'm going to talk about her comeback and what she's up to today. So in August of 2020, Simone Biles announced publicly that she was dating NFL player Jonathan Owens. He was a Packer. And they were engaged in 2022. They were married in a civil ceremony on April 21st, 2023, before having a destination wedding in Mexico less than a month later on May 6, 2023. They are currently building a home together in Texas. In August of 2023, Simone made her return to the competition that she loved for so long. At the Core Hydration Classic, previously known as the U.S. Classic, she won the all-around title by an astonishing 5 points in addition to the floor and beam titles. Her saying, "I feel really good about where I'm at right now, mentally and physically," Biles said afterwards. "I still feel there are some things to work on in my routines, but for my first meet back, I would say it went pretty well. I'm very shocked and surprised." Her amazing performances at the Classic qualified her for the U.S. Championships a month later. In the U.S. Championship, Simone became the first gymnast to win 8 national all-around titles and at 26, the oldest woman to win a championship. It sounds really weird to say a 26-year-old is the oldest woman of anything, but anyway, I digress. In October, Simone joined Team USA at the 2023 World Artistic Gymnastics Championship, her final international competition first international competition in 2 years. Team USA women won their 7th consecutive world title, and Simone individually won the gold medals in the all-around, balance beam, and floor exercises, along with the silver in vault. With her new medal, Simone became the most decorated gymnast in history. That's just so fucking badass. On June 30th, 2024, Simone claimed victory at the U.S. team trials, clinching her berth on Team USA for the Paris Olympic Games. Simone is the first gymnast since 2000 to make 3 Olympic teams. Simone started off strong at the Paris Games, posting top scores vault and floor exercises during qualifying for the team all-around to give the U.S. the top seed entering the final. She completed the competition with a score of 14,666.
It's supposed to be point. Sorry.
Okay. I was like, damn, she got a lot.
I don't know why I put that.
Yeah, anyway. 14.666 in the floor exercise, sealing the gold medal for Team USA. 2 days later, and I should have known that, Melly, and I should have just read that but I was like,
I think 15 is the perfect score.
Is it? Okay. It's been so long. I don't pay attention to the Olympics like I used to. I always watch Simone and then I just tune out everything else. So that's pretty much it. 2 days later, Simone excelled on the balance beam and in the floor exercise to claim her 2nd individual all-around title. Her gold streak continued with a gold in the vault competition where she landed her signature double pike move. Simone found challenges in the final days of competition, missing the finals by 0.168 points in the uneven bar. Simone also uncharacteristically, why does this word not want to come out of my mouth? Uncharacteristically fell off the beam and placed 5th. Although her floor exercise contained the most difficult start, Simone landed out of bounds twice, costing her deductions and placing her 2nd or silver medal. Biles acknowledged her successes and errors after the meet. Obviously, it wasn't my best performance, but at the end of the day, whoever medaled. A couple of years ago, I didn't think I'd be back here at an Olympic Games, so competing and then walking away with 4 medals, I'm pretty proud of myself. Simone was given the Presidential Medal of Freedom, that gives me goosebumps, in July of 2022 by Joe Biden. She has 5 tricks named after her, 2 in the floor exercise, 2 in vault, and 1 on the balance beam. Through all her trials and tribulations, Simone has proven to be a warrior. Simone has always considered her success story to be a source of inspiration to others, especially young female athletes who aspire to compete and win at an elite level. She partnered with Michelle Buford, an American journalist, I'm sorry if I'm not saying that right, to write an autobiography titled Courage to Soar, A Body in Motion, A Life in Balance. The book hit the number one spot of the New York Times bestseller in the young adults category. Simone continues to advocate about the importance of taking care of your mental health. Put your mental health first. That's more important than any other medal you could win. Netflix released a documentary series on Simone Biles entitled Simone Biles Rising on July 17th, 2024. And that concludes that.
Yeah, there was extensive more about her because she is fucking awesome. But if I put in, we'd be here all day if I put in every classic, every competition she was in. But if you haven't watched her documentary, I highly, highly recommend.
Amy, how's it going? Hi.
Yeah, she's quite the amazing human, right? And I mean, since I'm here about the mental health piece of it, just while I want to make it clear, I'm not a certified mental performance coach, which is the certification for those who are mental health providers for like sports psychology. I do deal with a lot of clients who are in high pressure performance oriented positions, right? And it's kind of all the same stuff. And there used to be, and I think Simone did a lot to change the expectation on, we've got to push and push and push because we're going to get through and we're going to, just on the other side of whatever we're pushing through, we're just going to have that greatness. And that's just not necessarily the case. And I think what she did to normalize, because she stepped back not only for herself, but the way that she did it, like unapologetically. I need to step back, and I said what I said, and I'm prioritizing myself. And I think that speaks volumes and literally changed changed the course of how we view mental health in sports. And, you know, I've had a lot of, my ex-husband was a professional athlete. You know, there's a lot of that mentality of you got to keep pushing, that burnout that will happen, whether it's in sports or any type of high performance
I was about to
position.
say that happens to me, and I'm not even in sports.
Well,
Yeah.
she
And you begin
practices
to
like
not love the thing that you used to love, right? And
Yeah.
nobody wants that.
she practices like 38 hours a week. Like it's literally dedication. She wakes up in the morning. Watching her documentary was pretty interesting because what I did not realize, and I do realize being an athlete myself, I wasn't a professional athlete by all means, but being an athlete in itself, you never stop to think it's all about the team. It's all about what you can do better. It's all about being hard on yourself. I think that was the hardest part for me because if perfection didn't come out of me, I was frustrated with myself. And that can mess with your mental, especially when people are looking for you to be the best of the best and be up there on the pedestal. I think what I found surprising about her documentary when I watched her documentary was the backlash that she got when she walked off that stage and prioritized her mental health. I think I saw all the positive comments, and in the documentary, she really digged into how people really ostracized her and basically demeaned her, and she had to stop looking on social media for a while because people were talking really bad about her, and she would take those comments to the heart, and she's like, all I want to do is take care of myself.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not trying to let anybody down, but if I'm not good, like when you get the twisties and the understanding that I've gotten from friends that are gymnasts and also just by watching her documentary and watching her speak about it, you can literally unalive from it because you can land on your neck, you can land on anything, and your brain and your body are not in sync. So the fact that she stood up and was like, I gotta go. I give her all the credit in the world, and the fact that these female athletes face all this backlash when they have a bad game or they're not like the fans are really mean, mean. They expect these people to be perfect without being perfect.
Inhuman, right? Like they're expecting inhuman level of performance, and that's just and it speaks to overall our fear of failure, right? There's a big projection about from the backlash. It said zero about her, but everything about us as a society and our expectation of perfection and our fear of failure, and that has to change.
So I'll share a little bit about me. I feel like these podcasts are always like, I love them every week, but this week especially is very important to me. So I don't talk much about my mental health. Like I talk about my mental health, but I don't go into like super long details about it. But like I'm diagnosed with OCD, anxiety, depression, and also BPD, which is a lot of diagnoses, right? Like that's a lot of diagnoses. I never say it right. Me with words, never works. Diagnoses, yes. And it's funny because I worked with the DSM, so like I should know how to say that shit. But like this is how I am in real life too, guys. Just so you know.
Diagnoses is
diagnoses. That's perfect. So I have struggled for a lot because some of them almost combat each other, right? Like I have a thing for perfectionism. But I also have a thing that I like to run away when things get too hard. And those two things don't correlate with each other. I'm also extremely neurodivergent. And when too much stuff is happening, I get very overwhelmed. And I'm like, you can ask the girls. I'll be on the phone with them. And like, if Millie's playing something in the background and Amanda's talking to Ava, I'm like, guys, I got it. Shush. Like it's so like too much stuff. So all of those things combined, plus my BPD, which I have been diagnosed since I was a lot younger, and I have overcome a lot of I'm in recovery, so I think that a lot of my program in recovery has helped me work on some of these things to be able to, and I've also been on medication on and off for a long time. We are not mental health professional. Well, I am not a mental health professional. So anything that I talk about is my experience and my experience only. I am not saying that medication is good or bad for anybody else. I just want to make that clear. And just being on and off medications and going through all the different things that I had to go through, like I couldn't imagine being under the pressure with all of the stuff that happens in my mind that she was under, especially in the public eye, you know. And I think that mental health isn't, I think that we've come to a spot in society where it's less stigmatized. I still don't think there's enough accessibility, and I don't think that it's talked about enough, because I can't imagine how other people in the public eye feel who are under these pressures, because I, at home and in just regular basic life without being in those eyes of people, feel pressure. So triple that by a million. So when I hear her say things like put your mental health first, and like I couldn't love the game the same if I wasn't putting my all into it, and when I'm not taking care of my mental, because this is what I heard her say, like, and that's what I think she meant, is like, if you're not able to put your all into the game because your mental health's not there, then like what is the game for? Because when you love something, you want to put your all into it. So like, the fact that she did that for so many young girls at the time because she was so young, the fact that she was able to step outside of that, I think is a amazing example, for young girls to say like, hey, I don't have to meet every expectation. I could say I'm not okay.
And that was so important, right? Because she showed us that sometimes the strongest thing you can do is take a step back.
Yep.
And I think that's such an amazing thing to put out there for folks and understand. We don't often see that type of honesty, especially for someone is on the world stage like that, right? We often see that guise of I can do it. I'm superhuman. And I think she really stepped into like, I'm a human being and it's okay not to be okay. And it's okay to put yourself first and still be a team player. Like, I can still be this thing, but I can't be this thing at all if I don't choose me first, right? I'm always talking about we can be as compassionate as we want, but we will never be able to do that for very long unless we're compassionate with ourselves first. And I think she did that in such a stellar way when she did what she did.
So Amy Dawn, I don't know if somebody could send this to Dad. I don't know if Dad's here.
Okay, first of all, that's what I just texted you. Dad is actually not feeling well, so he won't be
Okay.
here. Liz is in the comments. I don't know if you want to bring her up. She was
We just want mental health professional. Is Liz a mental health professional?
no, she was in gymnastics and
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
competitive gymnastics.
So Amy Dawn, Liz, just hang out for a minute, if you can. Amy Dawn, so being in the field, of mental health and like dealing with this kind of stuff all day, what do you think that the number one barrier you see for people is between getting help and like not getting help?
It's probably a couple things depending on the population. For men, I think it's just this perception of it's weak. It shows weakness, and we know that's the biggest trigger. The number one shame trigger for men is to be perceived as weak. Which the irony of that, right? The strongest thing you can do is take care of yourself. So there's that. But I think specifically more to the general population, it oftentimes is just they don't realize what it can do, right? It's just a lack of access, a lack of having a positive experience with mental health in knowing how beneficial it is. I think a lot of people perceive mental health as like, oh, that's for other people. I can handle my problems myself. I got me. Like, you wouldn't say that if you had a physical illness. Like, you wouldn't be like, you know what?
If you had diabetes, you wouldn't just be like, oh, cool, it's fine. I'll just figure it out along the way. Like,
yeah. I mean, I think my profession is very new. I'll give it that. Like, you know, late 1800s. So it is a little newer than physical science, health wise. But we see the emergence over multiple ways. Of the benefit of getting therapy, the benefit of coming in and just talking to someone and figuring stuff out and be connected, especially in this world of lack of connection because we're tied to our phone. We have this digital dopamine on the end of our hand that we are compulsively over consuming, which especially in athletics, to the point about, you know, Simone had to pull away from social media. yeah, because that stuff, you'll go into quick disassociation, you'll go into this completely dark space that you don't have to go in if you're, connecting with others outside of that. And so just understanding the benefit of therapy is, I think, one of the biggest barriers.
And I would really like to ask, like the girls too. For me, like the biggest barrier with mental health was definitely understanding mental health and the lack of, uh, because before you go seek mental health professionals, mental health professionals, or before you seek help, you have to understand that you have a problem, right?
Hmm.
And if I don't know that I have a problem, like when I was younger, like I was forced, into people telling me that I had mental health stuff. Like I didn't come to that conclusion on my own, and nobody ever explained it to me. They just threw medications at me or said, like, well, nobody ever gave me any coping mechanisms. So I think that my huge barrier with getting older with mental health was like the lack of information and the lack of education that was given to me as a youth, because of the lack of, obviously, youth mental health. And it's just, oh, you got to do what your parents are telling you to do because you're underage, and that's it. That's the only thing. And I think that turned me away when I got older from any type of help until it was like I was at my rock bottom. And nobody should ever have to hit rock bottom before receiving help. But that was strictly because my experience when I was younger.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I'd like Amanda and Melly to also, if you guys
Weigh
want
in
to.
on like how we, yeah. So I attend regular therapy. I'm in my maintenance phase right now, so I just do once a month. But when I have to go more, I obviously will up it. I'll go once a week or whatever I need to, But I was raised, so my parents got divorced when I was 16, and I had grown up with a dad who would stuff down all of his feelings and then blow up on my mom would do something to make him upset, and then like 10 years later, or like however, like a significantly long period of time later, he would blow up on her about something. And my mom would be like blindsided, like, where is that coming from? Like, because he just never talked to her about what was bothering him. And so I grew up like learning to like shove it down and not talk about it, because like it's not going to end up good anyway, and like whatever. And so my mom, they got divorced. My mom like blossomed. She started going to therapy. She started like, really just, she's like my role model. She's just really amazing. And she handled the divorce. She took the high road every way, which also I think about as an adult now, like how hard that must have been. But after that, I saw that example finally. I saw like getting the help, going after what's important to you and what makes you happy. I saw my mom doing all those things. So it was more so I watched actions. I think most kids do, most people do, right? They pay attention to what they see happening. And so I saw that before. And then I saw this when I was still impressionable. I saw this other example, like on the flip side. So then as an adult, then I didn't feel ashamed to go get mental health help. I didn't feel stigmatized by it. My dad encourages it, but won't go get it for himself, which is very ironic, I think. Which I think he would really benefit, because he had an awful childhood, and I don't think he's fully healed from that. But that's a whole other story. But he's very like supportive of it or whatever. But he doesn't practice what he preaches, so that's that's a whole thing. But yeah, I think that helped, not like being so supported in my family for doing that. I've had anxiety for a long, long time. I had a ton of trauma around my pregnancy and postpartum. And so that was something I'm still on the healing end of that. And so but that was where I was like, I pulled out those tools I'd learned earlier and was like, okay, now I can just, I'm going to therapy. I'm going to exercise. I'm going to drink my water. I'm going to eat my veggies, and like do all those things I know help make me my best self. So that's kind of my journey there.
Well, if you think about it, nobody would have given pushback to Simone had she stepped back because of a physical injury.
Right.
And so I'm always drawing that parallel, because our mental health is no different than our physical health. It's all connected,
Mm-hmm.
And I think, to your point, Amanda, and yours too, Jess, and I'm hearing a lot of like, and often with my adolescent clients, they come into therapy when really the people that needed to be in therapy were the parents that put the kid there, because that's the dynamic that needs to get healed. And I always say, you're not responsible for the fact that someone puked on you, but at some point you got to get in the shower.
Yeah. I would say like my dad and I have a good relationship, but we do have like there's that I always feel that contention in me because like you know what I mean, because I like can't fully tell him like, hey, you do this and it bothers me because his ego flares up and he can't hear it, so it's like so there's always that part. Like I love him and he's a great dad, but so if he would open up, I think if he would go, hey, you know what, there's nothing wrong with going to get help, there's nothing wrong with me sitting down with a therapist for my own issues. I think that would really help our relationship.
Well, hopefully one day he'll think about that more.
Hopefully.
Never know.
Melly?
Well, I'm very vocal on here.
Thank you for sharing that, Amanda.
I'm very vocal on here about my mental health struggles. A lot of people know I've shared a lot. I suffer from... Hold on, my daughter just walked in the room.
And Steve, that comment is not welcome here. That's a disgusting thing to say, and you are getting blocked actually. Because just I can't. My screen won't work. I can't touch it.
Well, so I suffer from PTSD. Sorry for the noise in the background. I suffer from PTSD. I also suffer from major anxiety, crippling anxiety. Actually, I suffer from depression, and I also have panic attacks, and not so much recently, but I have had to use medication to control them. I was not big on therapy. As a child at 15, my parents got divorced. I was forced into therapy. I also had trauma that happened to me at 15. So unfortunately, therapy was not what I needed at the moment. I needed my parents to just love me. I grew up in a household where kissing is traditional in our culture. So like kissing on the cheek is traditional. It's more of a chore versus actual affection.
Yeah.
So sorry, it's pretty loud back here. My family's arguing over taquitos.
Over Tostitos?
No, taquitos.
Taquitos.
Yeah. I used to be a big no therapy until I went through a domestic violence situation and realized that I had suffered for a very long time with my own mental health issues, but never actually talked or worked through them. Oh my gosh. Hello?
I'm gonna cry.
I got about, just a heads up, ladies, I got about 6 more minutes, and then I have to go. We're interviewing new people at my practice.
Oh, nice.
Okay,
By the way, your
awesome.
background is amazing. It looks so like it's so pro. Like I love it.
Office.
I love it.
Yes.
It's so cozy.
You're
I
slamming
love it here.
Not even me.
But I think, I just want to give some parting thoughts because I do have to go. I think what you've all mentioned about especially growing up and being in therapy as a kid, and especially being forced into therapy, Melly. I'm sorry that happened to you. I'm big on giving adolescents the agency to make some decisions about that. So, and I think it starts early. It's so important that young people especially hear this early, right? Like success isn't just about gold medals or straight A's or whatever. It's about knowing what you need and being able to feel empowered to speak up for it.
That's right.
About learning to ask for help when you need it. We all have limits. We have limits to our capacity, and to think otherwise is just so damaging, and it sets us up for just misery. Right.
Yes.
So
Real quick, Amy. Brett, I see you in here. Can you wait for a minute? Can you not leave for a minute? We're talking about mental health, and there's a topic I'd really like to touch on after we talk to Liz. Brett, so if you hear me, stay. God, I'm sorry, I'm done.
No, that's okay. But yeah, I mean, mental health isn't pretending everything is fine, right? Everything isn't fine, and it's okay. And I saw a comment, someone in the chat said, to be honest, they've never gotten a good experience from a therapist and aren't sure what people get from it. I promise you therapy works. I encourage all of you, even if you haven't had a good experience with therapy, that was a lack in the therapist or the rapport that they were able to build with you. I have a lot of interns that I supervise and students that I supervise, and they haven't been doing this for 30 years like I have, but they have this incredible ability to provide a connection to their client and a safe space for them to talk about the things they need to talk about in a way that helps them feel empowered. And that's it. And so if you haven't found a therapist that you connect with, I implore you, keep looking. We are out there. Get on psychologytoday.com. You can filter for what specialty your therapist, what you're looking for in a therapist. We have all of our clinicians here are on psychologytoday.com. Yes, I implore you to advocate for yourself. You deserve to get the healing that is out there. You don't have to walk around with a broken leg and not heal it properly, right? Like, we're out here. If you can't find someone, keep looking, because you deserve to heal. No matter who you are, you deserve access to the care. So,
absolutely. Thank you so much.
on that note, I love you all.
Thank you.
I love you.
Go interview another clinician for
Yay.
We are out here, and if you're in Arizona, we're out here. We do the work. So
Thank you so much.
you bet.
Love you.
Love you
Love
more.
you. Sorry, my property management company is harassing me right now because they call me on the 1st of every month. They call me on the 1st of every month when my rent isn't due on the 15th. I guess they just have this system where they put everybody on the 1st. My rent is not fucking due till the 15th, and they literally just called me 6 times in a row to remind me of my balance and say that if I don't call them back, they're going to take action. First of all, even if it was due on the 1st, you can't take action after 5 days. Get off my booty hole. Hi, Liz. Guys, keep tapping the screen. We're only at 34,000 likes. That's absolutely ridiculous. So if you can keep tapping the screen and share the live and meet the gift goal and gift the panelists and do all the good things, I would really appreciate that.
Hello.
Hi.
Yes. Hola. I don't know what time zones you're all in, but
Eastern Standard Time is the only time zone, so you could just use mine.
thank God. That's
harsh.
the one I know.
I'm central. I'm the odd one out. But according to some people, Wisconsin isn't real, so it's fine.
Right.
Right, of course. I'm from Michigan, so I see that.
You don't see it? You mean you don't see us
I
at all?
do. I have family that lives in Wisconsin, so
Oh, see? So you recognize we're real.
I do get it, yeah. So gymnastics and Simone Biles is kind of my wheelhouse, and tying it in with mental health. So I kind of wanted to explain what the twisties are. And it's usually when gymnasts are like flipping and twisting at the same time in the air and they get lost. And it's usually brought on by like a mental block. And that could be from any kind of mental health problem. It could be something unrelated to gymnastics, or it could be just having a mental block on that specific thing that they're trying to do. And I had a version of it that was actually all physical. I had a severe neck and head injury, which wasn't treated, so I was still competing, and I had that happen to me where I would get lost flipping in the air. And I ended up having to stop training because I went to a doctor and they're like, you have like unresolved head trauma from your injury, so you can't be doing this.
Oh my gosh.
And it's terrifying because you're up in the air and you have no idea where you are. I mean, that's something that gymnasts usually have naturally, and it's trained also. So when you lose that, and especially when you're doing skills that are so high level, like Simone Biles, I mean, she would literally unalive. Like she actually, during the Tokyo Olympics, she had to go to a different gym to train because the training gym at the Olympics just is kind of like a basic setup, kind of like what you see in the competition, whereas like a regular gym will have a lot softer landing areas and stuff to train things.
Mm.
So she ended up having to go to another gym, and she posted videos about it, and it was, I mean, it was terrifying. As a gymnast watching that, I'm like, oh my God, she's gonna unalive, like, if
Yeah.
she tries to compete. And that was something that was so frustrating, seeing all the negative comments online, especially
Yes.
from men.
Oh,
Oh my
white men.
God.
The white men.
Oh, the white
It is
men.
the white men.
Bleh.
Oh my God.
They
I
were
was dying.
dragging her. And I mean, like, I can't imagine. And I just can't imagine. I just can't imagine. And the fact that she is so fucking strong, like, and stood her ground through that, like, I give her so, like, if there were like a level of props that I can give someone, like, she would be at like the highest level because she didn't respond, she didn't react, and she just she did her me girl error. I was like, I'm just gonna go heal and do what I need to do for me, and y'all can like fuck off and wait for my next medal. Because guess what? I'm entertaining y'all
Exactly.
bitches.
It's coming.
Exactly. I was so proud of her. I couldn't, the pressure that she had, because the Olympics was basically all about her. Like, I'm assuming in the US it was advertised as such, but like over here in Europe, all anybody cared about was watching Simone Biles. Like, I mean, she was the Olympics, and
Yeah.
for her to pull out was really, really brave.
Yeah.
Um,
We were split. It was like a lot of, I think that there were a lot of women that supported her. There was definitely not a lot of men.
okay. Yeah, I could see that. I became like the resident, like, Liz, explain this. Because we actually, in the region where I live in Spain, we actually don't have gymnastics. Not like that kind of gymnastics. We have rhythmic gymnastics with like the ribbon and the hoop and stuff. So like people don't understand anything about gymnastics. So it was me like having to explain, and there's a lot of machismo in Spain as well. So it was an interesting time to be the one having to explain all of that. But also, I just wanted to give, and this is just like like what do I want to say? Like a little tidbit, I guess. When you were talking about the scores, because the scoring system now is different than it used to be for the Olympics. So now it's like a 10 for execution, which is like how well somebody does something, plus a difficulty score.
Oh, okay.
So
So there's
so
two.
there is no cap on it, and so the final score that you see is just adding the two together. There's no cap on it really. So, and they change it every 4 years. They change like the rules and stuff, so it's always changing.
Yeah, so it's like how hard the tricks were and then how well you did the hard tricks.
Exactly. That's right.
Yeah. It's intense. The Olympics are intense. Like I can't imagine. But thank you
Yeah.
so much for that, Liz. So what did you do? What did you do? How do you ask that question? What did you
Like in
Yes.
gymnastics, you mean?
Yes.
So I did the all around, like all of the different apparatus, like Simone does, by obligation. If I had it my way, I would have just done the vault, which is like where you run and you jump, and like, um, and the balance beam. Those are my two specialties, but I was forced to do everything.
Okay.
Um,
By your parents?
and
By your parents or by your gym?
by my gym. And it was because my team was small, so we
They needed you guys to,
they
yeah.
needed me to do everything. And I switched from like the federation to a high school team when I entered high school, because the high school team was basically a bunch of people from the private clubs and federation who didn't want to compete in the federation anymore. And I was like improving a lot in
Yeah.
the vaults and the balance beam, but I was like stuck on the uneven bars, which is like Simone's like worst event
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
And so like I just never improved. Like I improved like 3 levels on the vault and like 0 on the bar.
So
I was a
just
disaster.
so just from somebody, I don't know if you mind. Usually we just ask questions, like if we feel like. So I don't know if you mind if there's anything, and I'll tell you. You watch us all the time. You're always here. You're always one of our people. So, but I just always like to say, like, if there is something that is too uncomfortable or you don't want to answer, you're more than welcome. I say that to everybody just so that they know that they can always say, like, I don't want to talk about that. And we're okay with that. Like, we'll just move on. It'll be nothing. It'll be a blimp in the past, you know? Do you maybe want to explain to the chat a little bit about the pressures that you go through in the gym from your coach, from your team, to even become on a level that's up for competition?
Yeah. So I would say the pressure mostly comes from the coaches. And that was a huge situation I had. I don't know if you all know, I have ALS.
I did not know that.
Yes, I have ALS and long COVID. And so one of the factors of developing ALS is head trauma.
Okay.
And so I had a severe head and neck injury from falling from the high bar of like the 2 uneven bars. I fell like straight on my head from the high bar, and like my neck snapped forward, and like it was bad.
Yeah.
And that was at a time when there weren't like concussion protocols or anything like that. And I'm aging myself, I guess, but so yeah. So my coach made me get up, and like she let me like not train the rest of that day, but then like she made me train the next day. And she wasn't even there. It was the other coach. But the other coach's husband was the head trainer of the gym, and he was military, so there was like no going against, you know, his wife,
Right.
because then he would get involved, and there's no going against the military man in the gym. So yeah, I was forced to train after that injury, which nobody will ever be able to tell me for certain if I had, you know, treated that properly, would I not have developed ALS? Nobody will know that for sure. But but yeah, the pressure is real, and things have improved a bit. So something that extreme wouldn't be allowed to happen anymore. Someone with that kind of head and neck injury being forced to train, that wouldn't happen anymore. But things haven't changed as much as I would like. I think it was I can't remember if it was the 2021 or 2022 World Championships. I was watching on TV, and a Japanese male gymnast landed on his head on a vault.
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah. And actually one of the girls from my college team was paralyzed from a vault accident. So like vault, super, super dangerous.
Yeah.
And he got up and competed again, and he was totally out of it. Like,
You could see.
he was like weaving, you know, and I just thought like, wow, things haven't really changed that much.
Yeah, it's like all about the medal. It's like all about the win. Like
It is. And I forgot to mention, so I'm incredibly privileged. I actually saw Simone Biles compete several times last year in the Olympics. Yeah, I actually was able to go. So, I mean, Paris is like my neighbor, basically. I live in northern Spain. Paris is really
okay,
close.
okay, Liz. All right, don't rub it in with your fucking
Sorry.
universal health care and your.
Yeah, I have that too, you know.
Paris is like my neighbor. Like, cool.
And you know, if I had gone to college here, like considering that I got like perfect grades basically in college, I would have gone to college for free here. So
All right, you want to keep going? What else? What else, Liz?
well, no. I just got my $65,000 of U.S. student loans
I'm gonna
canceled
kick you.
because
I'm
because I
gonna
have a
kick
terminal
you.
disease. So
Oh well, that's okay. I'm not gonna kick you for that
you
one.
can't hate me too much for that one.
But if you don't have an extra bedroom, I don't want to hear any more about it.
Oh, I do actually, and it's available. So
We'll be
just
there.
saying.
Do you accept children?
Yeah. Can I bring
Ooh.
my 3-year-old?
How old are they?
My daughter's 17. You won't like her.
No, I love teenagers.
No, you would like her. She doesn't like me, so like you wouldn't want to live with us.
No, I love teenagers. I was a secondary school teacher before I medically retired. So
Oh, that's awesome.
teenagers are my jam. Yep.
Liz, I'm really sorry that all that stuff happened to you. And I think
Yeah.
that was really, thank you for coming up and talking about that because, like, I just don't think we hear enough about the pressures when it comes to, especially gymnastics or Olympic sports. But, like, even, like, just things that we just don't know. You know, there's things that we don't know about certain areas of pressure that can really bring out mental illness. And then also on top of the physical stuff that she was going through and the mental stuff that she was going through, she was SA'd during all this and had to come out and be brave enough to come out where 264 other women also came out.
Somebody in
You
the
know,
comments
like,
said there's like 500 claims or something.
It's over 500 actually. The 264 were the 2 initial lawsuits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was in that
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. So
Like, that's-
it's I'm assuming it's over 1,000 because this man and he could have been stopped.
Yes. During the
because a
first
couple
complaint.
Well, wasn't he a
first
college? Wasn't he a college
in
doctor for a while?
97 it was one of the college gymnasts from Michigan State, and the coach didn't listen, didn't
Yep.
pay attention to the complaint. So
Well, because that's because that's what happens, right? We talk about this all the time.
yeah. And just as a side note, like Michigan State gymnastics program had like this huge like black X over it for a lot of years because of all of this. And they just went, Michigan State gymnastics, now obviously under a different coach, just qualified for the national championship for the first time in
Wow.
37 years. So so they've had like a nice change, and because there was definitely like a black cloud over that school for a long time because of
Yeah.
what Nassar
Because
did,
of
because
that.
he worked there.
And they didn't
So-
believe the women. And this
No.
is why we say believe all women, right?
Exactly.
Believe all women until there's how about we believe all women until there's proof that it's not real, and instead of
Exactly.
asking for proof and then believing them, let's try doing it the opposite way
The
for
opposite.
a change.
Yeah.
Let's believe, and then let's investigate, and then if it's not real, then we go from there. Instead
Let's
of
just
saying,
Olivia Benson every situation,
let's do it.
you know?
Let's do it.
Well, thank you so much for having me up. I appreciate all of you and what you're doing with Misbehaved Women. So
Thank
I
you
will
for
keep
always
listening.
supporting.
Thank you.
Of course. You can go ahead and drop me.
Yeet. Trials, but we're talking a lot about mental health, and I think that there's an important part of mental health that, like,
I'm gonna be on mute. Hold on.
okay.
It's really loud in my house. We're a big Yukon family.
I think that there's an important part of mental health that we don't talk about, or we talk about, but I don't think that we talk about enough. And Brett, the reason I asked Brett, but he swiped out before I asked him to stay, because I just went through this with my daughter, how hard it is to get mental health help for youth, right? And we have a lot of bad things that happen in this country due to lack of mental health, due to mental health resources, due to not having health care for whatever reason. There's so many things that go into it, and I can't fathom or understand the idea that we would just not fix it. Like, just fix it. Why can't we just fix our healthcare system so that mental health, which affects so many people, can can just be fixed. And I had a question for Brett because I specifically wanted to know, because he's such a big advocate for 2A and the rights and getting gun reform and all those things, how he thought that mental health really affected these topics, because I think it does. Yes, all of you are 1,000% correct. Mental health makes money. Mental health makes money with private organizations, and they prioritize privatized health insurance over just giving health insurance to everybody. And so I just think that there's other mental health affects a lot of people in this country. A lot. And the access is just super limited. And and not just limited, right? We also have to fight the barriers of health insurance.
Mm-hmm. And just destigmatize all around, right? Like,
you're welcome, Irish. Calling them out. It is too expensive, Nicole.
Mm-hmm.
Is there I'm planning
psychologytoday.com. She mentioned that. Amy Dawn did. About
yes.
To find and then we do have in the was it 988, Melly?
The text number 988.
Yeah,
you could literally just text 988. Like, it's that simple. Like, we're always on our phones, we're always doing things. Like, don't wait until you hit a rock bottom to get the help that you need. And I do think that mental health is something that we should be talking about in schools. I do think that mental health is something that should be given. But there's no money. There's no money in those fields. Right. So when people go to school, especially Melly, she talks about it all the time with her daughter being a teacher, there's no fucking money in these fields. So when they do it, you do it out of the goodness of your heart. You don't do it because you want to make a life, because if you're a single parent, you are most likely, or a single person, you're most likely not going to be able to afford being a teacher or a youth psychologist or psychiatrist or any of those things, without, I don't know, breaking the bank, taking out loans, getting yourself in debt, not being able to afford anything. And that's the sad part about this country. I know for a fact that Simone Biles was maybe a little bit more privileged in this area, in the certain aspect that she was an Olympic star, so maybe her access to mental health professionals, I didn't look, but like maybe her access was a little bit better. But what about the kids who live in poverty? What about the parents who live in poverty? What about low income places? What about what about those people? Mm-hmm. What about those people who don't have access or education and they don't even know what's wrong with them?
Right. Yeah. And they care more. Their biggest concern in those areas is how I'm going to feed my kids. They can't go beyond thinking how am I going to pay my next bill? Like, to force them to think about how can I pay for my mental health care on top of all that is like cruel. It's
I mean, I know people who live like pretty decent lives and lifestyles and still can't afford some stuff. I can't imagine. So when we want to look for things that we want to fight for, if we want to look for organizations that we want to fight for, these are the organizations that really need our help, because we can't raise the next generation of kids without this.
Mm-hmm. Even so, here's the thing: child could.
Melly, unplug your mic and plug it back in.
Okay.
What the hell?
I heard that.
Yeah, we're watching.
There you
go. Here's the thing with mental health services for youth. So what I found with my child, with my daughter, was that they get passed along a lot. A lot of those programs have therapists, but those therapists get recycled a lot. She went through maybe 7 to 8 different therapists in a practice that I could afford at the time. It wasn't private. It was by the state and recommended by the hospital. And unfortunately, I was a single mom at the time and I couldn't afford private therapy. And my daughter checked out. She checked out. She would not talk to the therapist about anything. She would go from therapist to therapist, and she got frustrated and said, I don't want to be in therapy anymore. And that made me sad because she was not able to get the help that she needed until she was older and I got private insurance. And then she asked for the help. And thankfully, my job covers private insurance, private mental health therapy, but it doesn't work like that for everybody, and the children suffer the most.
Yep.
Yes, they do.
Yeah, and to your point, Melly, and I know I don't understand. I just had old people writing on my screen. Old people, that was mean. It was very big. It was like huge on my screen. Like I needed like to step away
readers?
with it.
You need your readers?
Yeah. To your point, I think that the waiting lists, when we talk about, like, when you talked about being passed along, it's not even just passed along. So like my daughter's on like this long ass waiting list for services, and then if she doesn't like those services, she goes back on another waiting list. So being passed along with being on waiting lists for services. Like, so if it's like we're kind of stuck with what we get, like in that instance, in that regard. And I live in New Jersey and Millie lives in Connecticut, and we're like the top. Like we have more than most states. We're number one in a lot of things, and we still are suffering. So if we're suffering, I can't imagine how bad it is in other places. And I just think that if we fought a little bit harder for it, I think that we would find my point is also finding the right fit. But you have to understand something from Canada with your good healthcare. It's even for me as an adult, if I don't find the right therapist, moving on is still hard. You still have to there's so much that involves in that. And it doesn't mean that there's always a therapist available to take me for the next, then I got to introduce myself again. Then I got to go do this. It's a very long, hard process, and it should be simplified, and there should be more youth, help. Simone Biles was very young when she went through what she went through, and yes, she had the courage and the like bravery to stand up for herself and really push through it. But not all youth does. Not at her age. Not under the pressure they're under. All right, you guys want to wrap down?
Yeah.
Sure.
Do it. It's nap time.
I'm trying to stay focused, but the game is like intense.
It's understandable.
Oh shit! I shut it down.
And my child is in the kitchen yelling at the TV screen. So
Thank you. Yeah, it's nap time, folks, or Yukon time, whichever you're
Yeah, if you guys can hit the gift goal before we go, gift the panelists before we go, spend your fucking coins. If you guys want to contribute to the gift goal, the Cash App and Venmo is Left Jess, or you can just donate to any of the people on the panel. All of our Cash Apps, all of our bios, all of our Cash Apps and Venmos are in our bios. We are still continuing to raise money for our good Gen Z influencer Olive. If you want to contribute, that would be fantastic. Just make sure when you put it in there, you put it's for Olive, for our Gen Z influencer Olive. I love this topic. I love you people. And that's it. What do you guys want to see?
Dittos.
yeah, Simone Biles is one of my favorite human beings on this earth. I think she is phenomenal. Yes.
Nope.
And for being so young, it's amazing. It's amazing to watch her. I'm sad. I'll be sad if she retires and those rumors are flying around currently. But for her age, she's old for gymnastics, so I'll understand.
Yeah, have to give her that one. Thank you to everybody who watched the whole live. Thank you so much. We love you. Or just was here, popped in for a little bit. We love you.
By the way, y'all, we are fucking streaming live on YouTube. If y'all don't go over there and fucking subscribe, we are fighting.
Yeah.
We're fighting. And please join us tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Mental Health Monday with Melly.
It looks like Lainey's on right now if you want to go watch somebody. So
Yes, if you guys want to go raid Lainey. Also, don't forget we have a new day during the week. I don't know. I don't know what time exactly because
like 7 Central.
No,
So
but you
8
got to. What is okay? What is
Eastern.
it? 8.
I'm
8
1 hour
Eastern
behind
Standard.
you. I'm always 1 hour behind you.
I'm never gonna remember that. I'm always gonna say it wrong. So it doesn't matter how you say it to me, Mom.
It'll be 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Yes, it'll be 8 p.m. Eastern.
8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We've added a new day to our roster, and it is Therapy Thursdays, which is a posh, funny add to Therapy with MAGA. And it's very enjoyable. So if you want to join us on that day, please do so also.
Yeah, come watch me, gentle parents of MAGA.
Yes. I'm going to go yell now. I'm going to go yell and scream freely now because you guys are not going to be able to see me.
By the way, guys, we are partnered. We are a media sponsor for the Ruth Collective, which is a Amanda. I've explained this a million times. You go.
So the Ruth Collective is an organization that we're working that works to get healthcare for women and the LGBTQIA community in this country, especially with all the legislation that's being introduced and passed, unfortunately. Go on their website. It's ruthcollective.org. You can sign up to be a Ruth. So you would be a companion. So you would help people get whatever they need. Everybody stays anonymous. Or if you can sign up to, I think they have board applications right now. They have all the kind of stuff going on. So check out their website, see how you can help. They are, except for companion roles, it has to be a woman or non-binary. So, but just, go see how you can help. They're an amazing organization. We're so proud to be help with them.
All right, let me play our song.
We are women, here for women, lifting up one another. Misbehaving women, watch us as we wave our wicked little wand. Together we rise, breaking chains. Misbehave, breaking chains, cause we'll behave. To women seldom make history, so misbehave.
Thank you, guys. Love you. Bye.
Thank you.